WESH 2 News starts now with breaking news.
Breaking off the top tonight, a heavy law enforcement presence at a Cocoa Beach motel.
Right now, Cocoa Beach police officers have the Fawlty Towers motel surrounded. WESH's Gail Pascal Brown just arrived to the scene. So, Gail, any word on what happened there?
Well, what we have been able to learn from the Cocoa Beach police spokesperson is that a man has died from his injuries tonight. He died after he was taken to the hospital after being shot here at the Fawlty Towers motel. Let's go to some video of the scene earlier tonight. And as you can see, several fire units responded to the scene here at Fawlty Towers. The motel is located at 100 East Cocoa Beach Causeway. Of course, as we were been able to tell you right off the top, a male has been shot and killed at the hospital. At the hotel. He was taken to the hospital where he was pronounced dead. We don't have any information as it relates to the suspects at this time. We're still trying to get more information on that. The victim, as I told you, was loaded into a rescue unit and taken to a local hospital where he was pronounced dead. As far as any information other than that, that's all we can tell you. We do know that the police did have the K-9 unit out here this evening to see if they could try to find the suspects or any evidence as far as that's concerned. Back here live now, of course, no doubt they're going to be looking at any surveillance video around here of these businesses, and hopefully that will shed the light on what exactly happened here tonight and who caused it. Again, if you're just joining us, we want to tell you that right here at Fawlty Towers, here at the Cocoa Beach Causeway, a man was shot and killed. He was pronounced dead at the hospital, and the suspects are still on the run. I'm Gail Pascal Brown, reporting live in Cocoa Beach in Brevard County for WESH 2 News.
Also breaking tonight in Orange County, a man is dead after he was hit by a car while crossing the street.
Yeah, this crash happened on Colonial Drive and Harrell Road, just west of the 417. WESH 2's Chris Guardaro is there. And Chris, what have you learned?
Well, Florida highway troopers say just before 8 tonight, a man standing where we're standing right now on the north side of East Colonial Drive was trying to walk when he was walk across the street here when he was hit by a car traveling east. Now, I want to show you this green car that appears to be being towed away right now that has some significant front end damage. It looks like also the windshield has been cracked at some point. We're not sure if that's the exact car that was involved in this crash, but it appears that it is being towed out of here with some front end damage. Now, this happened right next to State Road 417 just before 8 tonight. Now, Florida highway troopers had to block off all the eastbound lanes of traffic, causing some heavy delays for drivers in this area. Cars were lining up, trying to get redirected. Now highway troopers are investigating the scene to see who is at fault in this wreck. It is worth mentioning that there appears to be no crosswalk within a couple hundred feet of here, but they're going to make the final determination on who's at fault after they conclude their investigation. We're live here in Orange County. Chris Guardaro, WESH 2 News.
Right now, we are getting ready to chill out. Temperatures are dropping tonight, and we're going to wake up tomorrow to significantly cooler temperatures. First Alert Chief Meteorologist Tony Manolfi is tracking it all. And Tony, how cool are we talking here?
Well, I'll tell you what, I think, Jim, in Marion County, we are going to be waking up to temperatures in the 40s, in town in the upper 50s. In fact, let's take you back out there. I want to show you the numbers now. Look at Ocala. Here we are at 11 o'clock, already down to 53 degrees. We work our way towards I-4 here, and you can see the readings right now in the 60s. Right now in Sanford, still 72 in Orlando, up towards Daytona Beach, now dropping back into the upper 50s. That's because our cold front is working on in along I-4 right now. And there's a little bit of rain here moving out of Flagler County. A couple showers now in and around New Smyrna Beach, Deltona. As this energy moves on through, winds pick up and the temperatures begin to drop. In fact, we're already running 5 to 15 degrees cooler than this time last night up to the north. And look at the gust this evening now, anywhere from 15 to 25 miles an hour by daybreak tomorrow morning. 59 in Orlando, 46 Ocala, and 57 back towards Daytona Beach. So we are talking about a 26-degree drop in temperatures from the 85-degree high today in Orlando to 59 by tomorrow morning. And coming up in just a couple minutes, I'll show you why you'll need the jackets not only in the morning, but in the afternoon as well, guys.
About a week after a Jacksonville 5-year-old was reported missing, her mother is now facing charges. West 2's Michelle Imbrado joins us now with the latest details in the search for Taylor Williams.
Well, Meredith, today police in Demopolis, Alabama, about 2 hours west of Montgomery, found human remains in a wooded area. They say there are indications that they are the remains of Taylor Williams. Williams' 27-year-old mother, Brianna, though, was arrested and charged with child neglect and giving false information to investigators. Additionally, she was admitted to the hospital with serious injuries from an apparent overdose. Now the task begins of identifying the remains.
Search teams uncovered the remains of a child in a wooded area in Alabama. Teams on the ground there are working on recovering the victim. And while indications are that this may be Taylor Williams, the exact identification of the victim will be made pending some detailed forensic analysis of those remains.
And if the remains are Taylor's, crews will then start looking into how she died. Meredith, back to you.
Michelle, thank you. New tonight, deputies want to find a woman accused of throwing a firework that injured a child and set a mobile home on fire. Orange County deputies say that Tiffany Herod is wanted on arson and child neglect charges. Herod's brother told West 2 News tonight she does plan to surrender to authorities soon. On Halloween, rescue crews responded to a home on East Orlando Road in Bithlo and found a child with severe hand injuries. Relatives told us the boy lost 3 of his fingers and also said that his mother was hurt. Now, at the time, investigators told us fireworks were the suspected cause of the fire. A woman was ticketed after a crash in Leesburg that injured 7 people, including 3 children. 19-year-old Sarah Reed was cited for careless driving. She was heading westbound on State Road 44 when she lost control, hitting another car. 2 2-year-olds, a 4-year-old, and a woman were hurt. One of the 2-year-olds is in critical condition. Troopers say the children were not wearing seatbelts.
President Donald Trump faces what could be one of the most consequential chapters of his presidency as U.S. House Democrats begin public impeachment hearings tomorrow on the Ukraine. West 2's Stuart Moore is here with us now. And Stu, there's still a lot of fighting over how this is going to play out.
There certainly is, and that's certainly going to continue as well, Jim. Washington is bracing for a blockbuster day. Under TV lights and cameras, House Democrats will build their case that President Trump deserves impeachment. First up tomorrow, top U.S. envoy in Ukraine, William Taylor. He is expected to repeat his private testimony that the president froze military aid to Ukraine to force it to publicly commit to investigating former Vice President Joe Biden. Top State Department official George Kent is expected to describe a shadow Ukraine policy orchestrated by President Trump's lawyer, Rudy Giuliani, on the president's behalf. The president denies any wrongdoing.
Yet Democrats in Washington would rather pursue outrageous hoaxes and delusional witch hunts, which are going absolutely nowhere. Don't worry about it.
The president is calling for former VP Joe Biden to testify. Democrats argue the focus of this inquiry is the president's conduct. Back over to you, Jim.
Stuart, thanks. You can watch the public impeachment hearings live right here on West 2. Our coverage begins tomorrow morning at 10. A local woman says her life is hanging in the balance as she waits for a U.S. Supreme Court decision on Dreamers. They are currently protected under DACA, the Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals program put in place by President Barack Obama. But President Trump wants to end it, and today the Supreme Court listened to arguments to ultimately decide whether he has that authority. Maria Ruiz has lived in Apopka for 20 years and is one of more than 700,000 DACA recipients in the U.S. Without it, she says she doesn't know what she would do.
It's the way we were able to move around. I'm able to have a driver's license from DACA. I'm able to have a job, have a social number.
The Supreme Court is expected to make a decision next spring.
5 people are hurt after a crash near the beach line. It happened along Narcoossee Road. The Department of Transportation cameras shows a heavy law enforcement presence. 5 people were rushed to the hospital, one of them in critical condition. New at 11, a Marion County man is behind bars on child pornography charges. Brandon Green was arrested today after deputies found child porn on his computer. Deputies say that he admitted to the crime because he was curious to see what it looked like.
New at 11, Orlando police need your help finding the man accused of raping a child. Officers released this sketch of a man they want to find. Police say the child was raped at Leroy Hoquist Park off of South Alder Avenue in the Englewood Park neighborhood. Police believe the incident is isolated, but it still has some park goers on edge.
You wouldn't think nothing like that would happen. But it's just a shame that it does occur, and you got to be aware of your surroundings.
Police say they have increased patrols in this area. Happening now, Orange County deputies are on the hunt for the person wanted in the shooting death of a local man. Deputies want to find Anthony Gutierrez. He was initially a person of interest in the death of Ronell Ginyard Brown. Deputies say Ginyard Brown was found shot on Waterford Woods Circle last month. He died at the hospital. Call investigators if you know where Gutierrez might be.
Closing arguments begin tomorrow in the penalty phase of a convicted murderer's trial. Everett Miller was convicted of killing 2 Kissimmee police officers, Sergeant Sam Howard and Matthew Baxter. The jury saw images today of the 2 officers with their families. A psychologist testified that Miller had PTSD at the time of the shooting and that his job in the Marines was stressful. Miller told the judge that he will not testify. New on WESH 2, an inmate at Tomoka Correctional Institution is accused of murdering his cellmate. 38-year-old Alvin Boyer is charged with murder. A report states that corrections officers heard something in Boyer's cell in September and found his cellmate bleeding on the floor. He died at the hospital. Investigators say the Boyer admitted to beating and kicking the cellmate, saying that he, quote, disrespected him.
New this hour, the Orange County School Board has approved the latest teacher salary increase. The board and the teachers union came to an agreement tonight. The one-year agreement highlights include a 5.5% salary increase. The district will pay insurance increases for all employees for the 2019 to 2020 school year.
More people are traveling through Orlando International Airport. New tonight, nearly 50 million travelers passed through OIA. The airport saw a nearly 6.5% increase in total passengers since this time last year. September saw its first monthly decline in more than 2 years due to Hurricane Dorian. Lots of people do it, but not everyone is getting sick.
Yeah, we're talking about vaping and the dangers of using e-cigarettes.
When you think that your son or your daughter could actually die, is a weight that you can't even imagine.
So what's the real common thread between illnesses and vaping? What doctors are now revealing next on WESH 2 News at 11.
It's like playing Russian roulette. Are you willing to pull the trigger?
Now at 11, e-cigarettes have long been marketed as a healthier alternative to smoking tobacco. But with dozens of vaping-related deaths and a raging debate over the cause of the lung illness that led to those deaths, the vaping industry is under attack.
WESH News' Amanda Dukes takes a look at the controversy and has the story of one Orlando family who almost lost their son.
This is 20-year-old Jimmy Dockery with his dad in August. He looks healthy. This is Jimmy just a few weeks later. He was in ICU, unable to breathe on his own.
When you think that your son or your daughter could actually die, is a weight that you can't even imagine.
Michael Dockery is a sports concussion specialist with Advent Health. He begged his son not to vape, but Jimmy did for 3 years. And in September, he went from having flu symptoms to being hospitalized with chemical pneumonitis. It's an acute inflammation of the lungs that doctors say in Jimmy's case was caused by vaping. At one point, it was unclear if Jimmy would survive.
It's just the worst feeling, helpless. You feel absolutely helpless.
Jimmy has recovered, but the lasting effects of his lung injury are unclear.
This was a very difficult life lesson for Jimmy. And again, we don't know what lies ahead. We're fearful for that.
People don't understand how bad it is for them.
Dr. Cynthia Grease is on the lung transplant team at Advent Health. She says breathing in anything other than oxygen is a bad idea.
And I think that there's just so much unknown right now that why would you vape? Right? It seems we don't know. We don't know what the chemical is that's causing people to have these severe drug reactions.
A report just out from the CDC says people who have died from vaping-related lung injuries often used products exclusively containing THC, a compound in marijuana.
In its report, the CDC stresses, while the data does point to a connection between the vaping-related deaths and THC, Researchers just do not know exactly what substance is doing the lung damage.
Advocates of vaping argue THC is the cause and that people are being exposed to it through cheap or illegal vaping products.
This is what they call a pod system.
Colleen Secor owns a smoke shop in Kissimmee. She says she strictly monitors the ingredients in her products.
Most of the customers that come in here want to get better, healthier.
Secor views vaping as a healthier alternative to smoking cigarettes and says her industry is being unfairly attacked. But Dr. Grease says vaporizing chemicals and inhaling them draws the product even deeper into the lungs than cigarette smoke.
But when you vaporize something, those particles can get really tiny and kind of get really far and deep into your lungs. So we don't know if that is part of the problem that's causing more damage to lungs.
With each new report or study, the debate over the exact cause of the lung illnesses rages. Michael Dockery says his son claims he only bought vaping products in a store, not on the street, and that he never vaped THC. Regardless, Dockery hopes others will hear his story and decide vaping is not worth the risk.
It's like playing Russian roulette. Are you willing to pull the trigger?
Amanda Dukes reporting, WESH 2 News.
The Florida Department of Health says there has been one vaping-related death in the state and 78 cases of vaping-related illness. For now, the federal government recommends against people using vaping products containing THC.
Legislators in several states, including Florida, have been fighting to raise the legal age to buy vaping products to 21.
Now let's talk a little weather here. Chief Meteorologist Tony Manalfi joining us. So Tony, the chill is in the air, huh?
Yeah, I'll tell you what, it's already in the 50s in Marion County, going to be in the 40s there. Out the door tomorrow morning, even in town in the upper 50s. And with that wind, as you're sending those little ones to school, with those jackets, they're going to need them when they get off the bus. I'll tell you what, it's been a long time since we've been held in the 60s for highs. Tomorrow may be that day. 72 outside right now. There's that front knocking on downtown Orlando as we speak to you right now. You can see a couple light showers here over towards New Smyrna Beach, pulling out of the land right now, and then over towards Oak Hill, Scottsmore, a few showers now, Longwood back towards Apopka. This will all feed back towards the University of Central Florida here over the next half hour. And a few light showers here rolling through Osceola County en route to Melbourne, Satellite Beach, Cocoa Beach. Now, we're not expecting a lot of rain, so if you have high hopes for that, I'm going to shoot them down right now, unfortunately. Palm Coast 52, look at Ocala 53, back towards Leesburg 60, Sanford 63. You can see in that dryer. And that cooler air is beginning to filter in. Dew points already right around 50 in Ocala, 55 DeLand, 57 Leesburg. Still in the mid-60s here, so you can see that push of drier air trying to slide off towards the south behind these northerly winds. Sustained now 5 to 15. We've had gusts as high as 20 to 30 miles an hour thus far this evening with the front coming on through. Notice the daybreak numbers. Zellwood 55, Orlando 59, over towards Bitlow 59 degrees. We shoot up into Seminole County, Lake Mary 57, Chulio to 58, up towards the land 54, Astor right around 50 degrees, Edgewater right around 59, 60. Mid-40s here into Marion County, 51 Bushnell, Palm Coast, you're at 51. The Four Corners over towards St. Cloud, Point Siena, right around 60. And right there on the water, about 64, 65 degrees. Look at how far south this front is going tomorrow. It is going to be clear down past South Beach. And then as we work our way into Thursday and Friday, it'll lift back to the north. But the big developing story for tomorrow, afternoon highs in the low 60s up north, near 70 or getting to 70 in Orlando. A far cry for a change for where we should be. That's going to put an end to the string of 80-plus degree days going back to April. It's 204 consecutive days of 80-plus degree heat in Central Florida. Volusia County Fair, breezy, cooler, lots of clouds around, rainfall limited east to I-4, and you're going to need a jacket tomorrow night, as will be the case over towards the attractions if you're getting ready to watch some of those fireworks. So as we head into Thursday, that front begins to lift back to north. Little area of low pressure is going to develop here in the Gulf and pull another cold front through. We'll get a quick little shot of some rain. This one will be a little bit more. It may come with a couple of showers and thunderstorms. Nothing that looks severe, though, for the time being. Cowboys taking on the Panthers. Playoff style here. A few showers around. We'll be watching that. Taking a look down at the updated 7-day forecast. Wednesday, Thursday, it's like a yo-yo. Cool, warm, cool. cool, cool, cool. As we head into the upcoming weekend there, glorious weekend weather, low humidity, lows in town in the mid-50s, lows north and west in the mid-40s.
Tony, thanks a lot. Just a couple weeks left in the college football regular season. The playoff picture is still a little bit jumbled.
It's starting to come together. Not at all. Playoff football rankings released round 2 tonight. Who's moving up, who's moving out, and who is just ticked off. We'll get to talk about all that. Plus, big night for UCF. Miami, the Hurricanes in town. That game just wrapping up seconds ago. Highlights are ahead in sports.
Now, West 2 Sports, sponsored by Mullinax Ford.
Hello, everybody. I'm Darren Stoltz. Games like this just don't come along often. Coaches from the ACC and the SEC pretty candid about it. Most do not like playing out-of-league games against in-state competition unless they play those games at home. UCF hadn't hosted Miami since 2012. Just 3 times in program history had the Canes come to town. Tonight, the Knights trying to notch their first win in Orlando against the Canes. But Johnny Dawkins' crew still new. Not nitro, just that suit. That suit had to be new. 80% of the points scored last season were by guys no longer on the team. So a great chance to grow up tonight. Early going, Canes in control, though. Cameron McGusty, he had a great game, leading the way for a tough 2 there. No backing down, though, from UCF. Pretty shot from Colin Smith there. 35, big man has range. Then Frank Burtz, he steps outside the arc. Knocks down the triple. Knights charging on back into this one. Another big shot from distance comes from the lefty transfer from William & Mary. Matt Milan. He's from Oviedo, back home in Oviedo. But the Canes come away from Oviedo with a 9-point win. 79-70 is the final score. A huge upset in the world of college hoops tonight. Number 1 Kentucky hosting Evansville at Rupp Arena. And what do you know? The Aces going all in. First road win over a ranked team in program history, and it comes against number 1 Kentucky, 39-0 at home against unranked teams when the Cats were ranked number 1, but not anymore. Down go the CATS. Cats, Cats, Cats. That's some November madness right there. All right, second college football playoff rankings revealed tonight. In your top 4, LSU leaping Ohio State for the top spot. Buckeyes at 2, Clemson up to number 3, and Georgia on all our minds in at number 4 if the playoffs started tomorrow. But of course it doesn't. And of course, this puts Alabama in an unfamiliar spot. The Tide drop out of the top 4, still lurking right there at 5. But Minnesota, the big mover, they go up 9 spots to number 8 after their win over the Penn State Nittany Lions. Golden Gophers still undefeated. The AAC puts 3 teams in the top 25, most notably Cincinnati and Memphis at 17 and 18. They are side by side. They are scheduled to play each other in the regular season finale. Could meet again in the AAC title game. Finally tonight, Major League Baseball investigating claims made by former Houston Astros pitcher Mike Fiers. Fiers telling The Athletic during the Astros 2017 World Series winning season, there was a camera system in center field that allowed the team to steal signs and tip pitches to batters. Major League Baseball investigating that. The league released a statement saying once the review is complete, they will, quote, determine any necessary next steps. Maybe they'll get like the NCAA and vacate a World Series title. You never know. That's it for sports. We're back right after this.
All right, guys, out the door tomorrow morning. The big story, the breeze and the wind and those cooler temperatures, 59 to 68 at the bus stops.
9 out of 10 orthodontists recommend you wake up with Wesh. After all, look at the smiles on the Sunrise crew, all bright and shiny. They roll out every morning super happy at 4:30. And you can get Western News whenever you want at wesh.com.
Thanks for watching. We hope you'll join us again tomorrow night.